My roommate secretly filmed me for 4 months and made thousands of dollars from my private life. Now she's threatening to sue me. I, 25F, never thought I'd be sharing something like this on Reddit, but I'm at my wit's end and desperately need advice on handling this nightmare situation I found myself in. About 6 months ago, I relocated to a major city on the West Coast for a promising job opportunity in marketing. Fresh out of my previous living situation and knowing absolutely no one in the city, I turned to Facebook Marketplace to find a roommate. That's where I met her. Let's just say she seemed perfect on paper. She was around my age, worked in social media marketing, or so she claimed, and came across as incredibly friendly and professional during our video chat. The apartment was in a great location, just 15 minutes from my new office, and the rent was surprisingly reasonable for the area. The first few months were genuinely great, which makes everything that happened later even more disturbing. We fell into an easy rhythm, sharing cooking duties, watching reality TV shows together, and even starting a weekly movie night tradition. She always insisted on arranging the living room furniture in specific ways, but I didn't think much of it at the time. Looking back, there were so many red flags I missed. How she'd constantly rearrange things when I wasn't around, her insistence on keeping certain shelves aesthetically pleasing, and her occasional comments about how our apartment life would make great content. Everything changed about 2 months ago. I came home early from work with a brutal migraine, the kind that makes you want to crawl into a dark hole and disappear. As I was stumbling to my room, desperately searching for my medication, something caught my eye. There was a small black device partially hidden behind some decorative books on our shared bookshelf. At first, my pain-addled brain dismissed it as a phone charger or some kind of adapter. But something about its positioning didn't sit right with me. After taking my medication, I decided to investigate. The closer I looked, the more my stomach dropped. It wasn't a charger. It was a tiny camera, expertly positioned to capture the entire living room. My hands were shaking as I began looking around the apartment more carefully. Over the next hour, I discovered 3 more hidden cameras. One disguised as a USB wall charger in the kitchen, another hidden in a decorative wall clock facing the couch, and a third tucked into a fake plant in the hallway. They were all strategically placed to capture different angles of our common areas. I felt violated, angry, and scared all at once. How long had these been here? What had they recorded? Who had been watching? I spent the rest of the afternoon documentation everything, taking photos of the camera's locations, writing down serial numbers, and even recording video proof of their placement. When she came home that evening, I tried to stay calm as I confronted her. "Can you explain why there are hidden cameras all over our apartment?" I asked, showing her the photos on my phone. Her initial reaction was telling. Instead of showing surprise or confusion, she immediately became defensive. She tried to play it off as a security measure, claiming there had been break-ins in the neighborhood. There hadn't been. But when I pressed harder, showing her the specific angles of each camera, and how they seemed more focused on capturing our daily activities than any potential intruder, she broke down. That's when the truth came out. She'd been running a YouTube channel about authentic roommate life for the past 4 months. She had over 50,000 subscribers watching videos of our private moments. Everything from our casual conversations to my late-night phone calls with my mom to me dancing around in my pajamas while making midnight snacks. All of it had been broadcast to thousands of strangers without my knowledge or consent. I felt physically sick as I scrolled through her channel. There were dozens of videos with titles like "My Roommate's Embarrassing Morning Routine" and "What My Roommate Does When She Thinks No One's Watching." Some had hundreds of thousands of views. The comment section was filled with people discussing my habits, my appearance, and my private conversations. Complete strangers were analyzing and judging every aspect of my life. I demanded she take down every video and delete all footage of me immediately. Her response? "This is my content and my career. The apartment's in my name, so I have every right to film here." When I mentioned that I never consented to being recorded and that what she was doing was illegal, she became hysterical. She started crying about how I was trying to ruin her career and destroy her dreams of being a content creator. I spent that night researching privacy laws and taking screenshots of everything I could find on her channel. The next morning, I woke up to an email from her lawyer demanding $5,000 in damages for destroyed property, the cameras I'd taken down, and lost revenue from the content she could no longer produce. The email also threatened additional legal action if I interfered with her business any further. That was the final straw. I packed my essential belongings and moved out that same day, temporarily staying with a coworker while I figure out my next steps. Before leaving, I made sure to document the state of the apartment and the cameras, taking photos and videos of everything. I also saved copies of several of her YouTube videos that clearly showed me without my consent. Feeling a responsibility to warn others, I posted about my experience in several local Facebook housing groups. I included screenshots of her video thumbnails with my face blurred and a careful description of what happened, sticking strictly to the facts. Within hours, other people started coming forward with similar stories about her. Apparently, she'd done this to previous roommates, though most had either not noticed or had been too afraid to speak up. Her response to my post was swift and aggressive. She's now threatening to sue me for defamation, claiming I'm jealous of her success and trying to cancel her. She's created multiple new social media accounts to harass me after I blocked her original ones. Her followers have started sending me threatening messages, calling me everything from a clout chaser to a career destroyer. I've hired a lawyer who specializes in privacy law and digital rights, and they're helping me navigate the legal aspects of this situation. The police have opened an investigation, but these things take time. Meanwhile, my anxiety is through the roof. I've developed a habit of checking for hidden cameras everywhere I go. I have trouble sleeping, and every notification on my phone makes my heart race, wondering if it's another threat or legal document. The whole situation has started affecting other areas of my life too. I've had to explain to my boss why I might need time off for legal proceedings. I'm worried about potential employers finding all this drama if they Google my name. Some of her followers have even tried to contact my workplace to get me fired, claiming I'm cyberbullying their favorite content creator. My lawyer is helping me file for a restraining order, but the legal system moves slowly. We're also exploring options for a civil lawsuit to cover my moving expenses, legal fees, and damages for privacy violations. The documentation I gathered has been crucial. The photos of the cameras, screenshots of her videos, and saved copies of her threatening messages are all building a strong case. Several other content creators have reached out to me privately, sharing similar stories about her and offering support. Apparently, she's known in certain YouTube circles for pushing ethical boundaries for views. Some have offered to help spread awareness about privacy violations in the content creation community, but I'm hesitant to draw more attention to the situation. The local news caught wind of the story and wants to interview me. Part of me wants to speak out to help prevent this from happening to others, but another part just wants to put this whole nightmare behind me. My lawyer and I are meeting tomorrow to discuss the pros and cons of going public with the story. I know I did the right thing by exposing her actions, but the constant stress and harassment make me sometimes wish I had just quietly moved out and tried to forget about it. The legal bills are mounting, my anxiety is worse than ever, and I'm struggling to trust people again. How do you rebuild your life when your private moments have been broadcast to thousands of strangers? Was I wrong to publicly expose her instead of handling it privately? Should I take down my Facebook post and try to settle with her to make this all go away? Should I do the news interview? I feel like I'm drowning in decisions, and I could really use some outside perspective on this whole mess. Edit. Wow, this blew up overnight. Thank you all for the supportive comments and advice. To address some common questions. 1. Yes, I have extensive documentation, photos and videos of all the cameras in their original positions, screenshots of her YouTube channel, and copies of the videos featuring me. 2. I'm in a two-party consent state, meaning she legally needed my permission to record my voice/image. My lawyer confirms she violated several state privacy laws. 3. We're pursuing both criminal charges and a civil lawsuit. 4. I've been documenting every single harassing message and interaction. 5. No, I never signed anything giving her permission to film or appear in content. Edit 2. A former roommate just reached out after seeing my post. Apparently, this has been her pattern for years. She even had a different channel taken down for similar violations. This information has been passed to my lawyer. Edit 3. Meeting with the news station tomorrow. My lawyer thinks sharing my story might help other victims come forward. We'll update when I can. Final edit. The support from this community has been overwhelming. My lawyer has advised me not to share more details for now, but I promise to update once the legal situation is resolved. Thank you all for helping me feel less alone in this.